Hey everybody, this is Grace. I just went into a grocery store. And it made me think of something that, I don't know what they're doing over here to the left of me, but wow, it's a lot. But anyway, real life happens in the middle of the video, even the beginning of it. But it made me think about something that I'm doing this series of, I'm going to try to do a series of things that we're taught to do, socially. We're taught to do or to believe or to as to how to think about something that it becomes such a part of us we really don't think about what we're doing or how we're seeing it. And people like me, I can be a little bit unique. I am a little unique. I have a genius IQ, but I also have a 1 in 33 million people have this health condition. So I'm quite unique all around. But the genius thing, we tend to, or maybe we look at so many different ways of looking at one thing. Possibly, not everybody. But here's like an alternative way of looking at something, viewpoint. Okay, let me get that out. I'm kind of a little distracted by what's going on over here. What are they doing? But anyway, so I went in there, and anytime I go into that store, it's like the next thing I know, there's at least one employee, which is good, because some stores you go into, you never see any employees. It's just that one, they're right there. They come up as soon as I get in an aisle. There's an employee that comes up, if they're not already there. Like I said, it's a good thing in a way. I mean, it is a good thing. If you have a question, there's an employee. Not very usual, as I say. But anyway, but I went to to get some, well, it was insulin and insulin syringes, and that's where I get them. Well, I'm not saying that this store in particular, or this, I've been to other stores too, but this one, it can be any store that this happens to. In other words, I'm not pointing them out. He did, and they didn't do anything wrong. I'm just using that as an example. What happened was basically the insulin syringes. They say these are non-refundable, which I know. I've been doing it for a little over a year, and I know that. That's okay. That's not anything to point out. But what it made me think, not about them, about any store, about anything that has an expiration date on it. Okay, because he told me these are non-refundable. That's their usual. They have to say that. And like I said, no problem there. But it made me think this. Okay, if any store, any product, anything, he kept it behind the counter before giving it to me. Well, in my view, if any place, not that, just that chain or whatever you want to call it, but any chain, any store, if they're going to sell you a product that they're going to say is non-refundable and it has an expiration date on it, they need to show you that the expiration, that it has not expired. Okay? Whew, got that? Don't you agree on that? Okay. Now I am certain that they have their. I'm pretty certain, like 99%, I would think, that they have to follow rules. They have to make sure that they put them in the whatever is a certain way, and they rotate them, and they have to make sure that the date that it's not expired. So I'm not talking about them. What I'm talking about is what it made me think of. Any place would do that. You need to show the person who's purchasing it that it's not expired. No matter whether you have to follow guidelines or whatever. But the customers, I would expect that. But other customers might not. Okay, you see what I'm saying? So can you really sell a product if the customer doesn't know if it's good and say it's not refundable? Really? Just a question. But here's another thing that happened. I'm standing there, and there's this man. He's an elderly. I'm saying he must be in his 90s and 90 years old. Can you imagine? And it's a little old man. Like we say, little old lady. Why don't we ever say little old man? Well, we shouldn't say that at all, anyway. But he's probably in his 90s, and he took out his wallet and he went to pay for it, and the guy's behind They just opened up a store. He and I are standing next to one another, and he said, the guy behind the counter, he's probably around my age, said, your card isn't working. And I thought, oh, I felt so, oh man, I felt empathy. Let me tell you, I felt empathy with people. And I said, I'm thinking to myself, if it's not expensive, I'm gonna pay for it. Pay it forward kind of thing. And it's gonna get hot. Okay, all right. So anyway, kind of pay it forward kind of thing. It's a man in his 90s, and my brain was thinking, oh, I hope his check, his Social Security or whatever, he was getting funds or what worked and all this kind of stuff. It is the beginning part of the month, and I don't think it's all like that anymore. But I think they separated them out now. Anyway, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't get any checks like they do. So I'm still standing there, and I put my card in. Well, guess what? My card didn't work either. And they had just opened up after lunch, back up again. And I'm saying, well, that's funny. Mine didn't work, because the guy said I could read it. And I said, that's funny. Mine didn't work either. I want to make sure they see that it's not this little old, don't say that little old, that older, man and me. It's not our fault. The machines aren't working yet. And the guy behind mine grumbled about something, like, oh, yeah. Because people standing behind us are thinking, oh, we're trying to pass cards that are old. And I made sure when I finished, I said, yeah, it was the same card. And it was. I put it back in again, and it worked. So, and I said, yep, it was the same card. I really don't care. These are total strangers. I really don't care that they might look at me like, she's got a bad card. Or, but I would feel sorry for the older man, and him. I would, if they're looking at him too. Total strangers, all of them. And but my thought about this is, how do we think like that? Why do we think like that? I'm not saying everybody thinks the same. Some people might, but isn't it common that we would think that the person's card failed because of them instead of the card failed? It could have both of us at the same time. Come on, what are the odds? Yeah, it could happen. But yeah, they just opened back up. Maybe, yeah. I don't know. I really don't know. It's not my area, you see. But still, both of us, I doubt either one of us would have bad cards, credit cards. So it had to be their machine. See? And anyway, okay, school's out for summer. It's been out for a couple weeks now. Anyway, here's another thing. When I first parked, I turned around and parked somewhere else, and when I started to get out, I noticed that there was this man parked next to me, real close. It was a big truck, but close. I could still get out, but still, it was a man there. And it was so funny because I'm one to say, this is Texas, part of Texas, and I never, the whole stereotype of Texans with the cowboy hats, and the men or women too, have the rodeo belt buckles, blue jeans, and a western shirt, and all that, with the cowboy boots on and cowgirl boots on, and all that stuff. I'm like, where? I'm Texan. Okay, I'm 60 years old. Where do you see that? Besides on the movies or the series or the whatevers. But there are parts of Texas, yeah, but here, no. Here in many places, I've lived in many places in Texas. Okay, way down into the Central Texas, North Texas, East Texas. These have been plenty of times to West Texas and all. Where? You want to tell me where? That everybody walks around with these things on? No. I hate to burst your view of Texas if you don't live there or don't know better. But anyway, so I'm parked to this, and I open my door and I read on what it says. I'm not going to say what it is, but yeah, it gave purpose behind what the guy was wearing, and that's what he was wearing. And I'm saying, yeah, he's a real cowboy. He was probably like in his mid-70s, and I'm thinking, yeah, that's a real cowboy. Probably his whole life. But then again, think about that. Wouldn't that be me stereotyping him? I'll wrap this up. Talk to you on another video. Bye.